When Steve Jobs introduced the first iMac way back in 1998, it changed Apple. The iMac was highly unconventional, brilliantly colourful, and started that Apple trademark of making old technology obsolete. In that particular instance, it said hello to USB and DVD, and said goodbye to floppy disks. 23 years on, and Apple has returned to that form book to reinvent the iMac for the Apple Silicon era. I'm Cam Bunton from Pocket-lint, and this is our review of the brand new 24-inch iMac. And while you're here, if you could tickle that like button, tap subscribe and the notification bell, that would be glorious. The first iMac powered by Apple's own chips does continue a tradition of sorts. That Apple has never been afraid to tear up a previous iMac design, and so here we have a new uniform, thin design. There's no curves in sight. It does share some design language with the outgoing Intel version, such as the chin underneath the screen and the similar looking hinge, but the basic look is largely dictated by the display. There aren't that many ways that you can get away from the fact that you're presenting people with a large slab of glass after all, albeit one with the internals of a MacBook Air. The iMac is now colourful. You can still get silver, but there are now 7 different hues to choose from, though the basic model only has 4 of those: blue, green, pink, and the aforementioned silver. This, obviously, is not any of those. This is the yellow model. You get a plain yellow part underneath the screen, which is made of the same material as the screen's now white bezel, and then all the other elements like the stand, the back and the sides are all a more metallic gold finish. The power cord between the power brick and the Mac is also color-coded and attaches to the back of the Mac magnetically, so if it's pulled it'll detach without pulling your Mac off the table. The default desktop wallpaper is also the correct colour, while the box even had a yellow handle. Of course, the Magic Trackpad remains an option and comes in the correct colour as well, as do the included wireless mouse and keyboard. The L-shaped stand from the old iMac remains, but it is lower and now accommodates a larger Apple logo on the back. Sadly though, the height is not adjustable on this stand, as is typically always the case for iMacs. So most of the time while it was being tested, it was on top of some books. Now, while the black bezels have gone and the new ones are thinner, they aren't quite as thin as many bezels we've seen around monitors and laptop displays nowadays. We're a little surprised that Apple hasn't really pushed the envelope here. That said, there's a huge improvement on the previous version, although that's not exactly hard. The whole device is very compact and has a uniform 11.5mm thickness. There are no bulges or any exit points for air from the non-existent cooling fans. Heat is not a problem though. It gets warm to the touch like any other display, but it never gets hot. Apple says that compared to the 21.5-inch iMac, the physical volume is around 50% less. It's also around a kilo lighter than that Mac, which is just perfect for those times that you want to take it with you into Starbucks. Now, the 24-inch display is actually 23.5 inches, but as with all displays of this size, that's pretty standard. It's 4.5K resolution, so 4480 by 2520, and it's an excellent display with consistent colours and brightness. And while it's not HDR certified, it's still pretty bright at 500 nits, and features the True Tone tech to react to ambient conditions. There's also support for the full P3 wide colour gamut. Yes, it's glossy, but it has an anti-reflective coating that's actually rather efficient. The FaceTime HD camera is the same Full HD camera that we first saw in the 27-inch iMac last year, a welcome addition, although colours often seem a bit hyper-real. Now, in terms of audio, you get a triple mic array on top and behind the display, as per the last iMac, and this makes for crystal clear calls. The speakers are very clear and crisp for voice, and there's decent bass too for most music or video that you'd watch on this computer. There are 6 speakers in all, 2 pairs of woofers, and an accompanying tweeter. It's an engaging setup that also supports spatial audio when listening in Dolby Atmos. Now, of course, as with all Macs, there are different spec options available. In fact, there are 3 this time around. All of them come with Apple's own M1 processor. That's the same as what's in the Mac Mini, the MacBook Air, and the new 13-inch MacBook Pro from last November. The key difference, however, is in storage and graphics. You can get 7 or 8 core GPUs as well as up to a terabyte of storage. Our review model is a middle model with 256GB of storage and an 8-core GPU. Now, the selection of ports is slimmed down from older iMacs. You get 4 USB-C connectors, 2 of them are Thunderbolt and 2 of them are a more standard USB standard. There are no older USB-A ports now, and if you opt for the base model, you only get 2 ports total. The SD card slot is gone, Ethernet 2 has disappeared from the body of the iMac, but it's still here for the top two models, inside the new power brick. The headphone jack is still here, and it's been relocated to a much more useful position on the side of the frame. The iMac keyboard now comes with Touch ID power button too, but bizarrely again, only if you buy one of the top two models. Now for those who like a bit of specs, with a Geekbench 5 single-core score of 1718 and multi-core score of 7539, the performance of this iMac is strikingly similar to the other M1 Macs we've looked at. In real daily use, that means everything zips along really nicely and really quickly. And with macOS Big Sur being designed for Apple Silicon chips first and foremost, things are generally optimized, especially for Mac App Store apps. Many other apps we've tried have either been prepared for native Apple Silicon support with a separate download, or work fine under emulation using Apple's Rosetta 2 technology. Now, if you do use unusual software, then you might need to just look up compatibility before you decide to take the plunge on the new iMac. But for the stuff that we use every day, it's not been a problem at all. Now overall, in terms of a redesign of its venerable desktop computer, Apple has really pulled it out the bag here. The iMac is brilliant. The super performance is not really a surprise given how we've experienced it before in the MacBook and the Mac Mini. But it's the fresh design that's the real story here, stepping things up a level compared to other Intel-based all-in-ones. The colours and the associated design details are a nice touch, but it's really about the size reduction and larger display than the iMac that it replaces. I've been Cam, I'm at Cam Bunton on social media. If you want to ask me any questions about the new iMac, please do. Or use the comments down below. If you like this video, please do hit that thumbs up, subscribe and tap the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any more. And I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.